goodness. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Chase on Two Wheels First Ride here at Mountain Motorsports in Roswell. And today, for one of my many first rides, we will be riding a 2018 Ducati 1299 Panigale R Final Edition. This beautiful, exquisite motorcycle will be getting a first ride today. But first, let's check out the cinematics, let's see the sponsor, and then we will ride the 1299 Panigale, the final one, hence the final edition, number 506. Let it begin.
So guys, this first art episode is brought to you by the guys over at Ridge Wallets. They're the guys that make these really slick looking wallets, and yes, that is carbon fiber. If you guys are like me, you've had the same wallet for what seems like forever now, so when the guys over at Ridge reached out and wanted to sponsor a video, I was really excited. The one I have is the carbon fiber one that perfectly matches this Panigale, but they have a ton of other options, including a really cool burnt titanium one. These wallets are RFID blocking, slim, and come with a lifetime guarantee. If you guys are in the market for a new wallet, and I love mine so far, you can get 10% off and free worldwide shipping if you go to ridgewallet.com/chase and use the code CHASE. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys. Thanks Ridge for sponsoring this video. If you guys want to support a company that's supporting me to make better first rides for you guys, make sure to go check out ridgewallet.com/chase and use the code CHASE to get 10% off a brand new awesome wallet.
Alright guys, so we have a 2018 Panigale 1299 Final Edition. This is the sound check. Patrick, if you will please, sir. Thank you, Patrick. That's the sound check. Alright guys, so if y'all are subscribed to the channel, then recently you saw my first ride on the Ducati Panigale V4S, the bike will be taking the place of the 1299. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I make all types of motorcycle related content. Today, it's a very exciting edition. Can you guys see how like just uncomfortable that seat looks? Man, this is gonna be interesting. Alright, so we've done the sound check, the bike is warmed up, but let's crank it up again for why not. What is my leg touching? My leg is touching the suspension? That's nuts. Alright, so as far as seat height, I can flat foot one foot, but I can't flat foot both. It's because the seat comes up so high. Also, if you guys are wondering what this little thing is, the previous owner, this is not a brand new machine, but the guy that bought this originally bought it to do track days, installed this, did do track days, and then just stopped. So like, power to that guy. He understood his limits. Oh, we're in sport mode. We're not gonna do that. Sweet, now we're in wet mode. So This bike has quick shifter, traction control, EBC, which is engine braking, DWC, which is wheelie control, and of course ABS. Nothing new there. We've got adjustable suspension. So guys, before we get going, the Panigales that I have done a first ride on is the 959, the 1199, and the V4S. This is the first 1299 I will have done a first ride on. Got to stop stalling and just go, just do it. Oh man, the tank is slippery. It's a very odd sensation to not, like, it needs tank grips, because my legs are just sliding all over that thing. Oh, this feels familiar. Oh wait, it's got quick shifter. I don't know what I'm doing. This bike has a very familiar Panigale feeling. When I rode the V4S, I remember making the comment that it was very smooth and easy to ride, which didn't really feel like a Panigale. This has got that Panigale feeling. It's vibrating. It's shaky when you're not just, you know, giving it throttle, and you are very racy. You are in a super race position. Quick shifter's nice, gives you a little jump, so it's not super smooth. I also feel like I can feel every bump right now. Like every little dip or bump in the road, I can feel straight up my legs and into my butt. Downshifter, oh, quick shifter up and down. I approve. There is something about the way a Panigale rides, or a Ducati in general, but specifically their Panigales, at least up until their V4S, it's just really this, oh my good God. It's just this raw feeling of motorcycling. It's just shaky and like you're a little worried and scared about it. I'm in wet mode, which is like the please don't kill me mode, and it still wants to. Oh, that wasn't bad. All right, so we're in first gear in wet mode, and I feel like it gives you a little bit of buffer space before it rips your face off, which is really just the nicest thing it could possibly do. Dude, this bike is so hot already. Oh my goodness. Do you hear how this bike sounds when you're just kind of puttering? We're in second gear going 4,000, and it just sounds like, you know, when you put your lips together in a pool and you're like, that's what it sounds like. Just not the most beautiful roar of a bike. It does sound better once you get going. But man, you can't putter a Ducati around. If you're gonna buy a Ducati, you gotta ride. You can't have it around town. I will say the down quick shifting, much nicer than the up quick shifting. There's just a smoothness to the downshifts, but the upshifts, it has this odd little like moment in time where things are just like, are we going up? Are we going down? Yeah, look at this, like going slow in first gear, going under 20, and the bike's just like shaky, and all the pieces of the bike are just like freaking throttle. Bike feels really solid going back and forth in a lane though. Effortlessly moves back and forth, like just, I guess it's the wheels being those forged wheels, the lightness of the bike, the framelessness, like something. See, that's when this bike sounds like it's supposed to, when you're throttling up on it. Otherwise, it honestly doesn't really sound that good. Bike looks gorgeous, but does not sound good if you're not giving it some throttle. I can't even see if my blinker is on down there. It's so dim. As I hit my GoPro, yeah, it's on. This bike also kind of feels like my R6, where I'm sitting way up on the bike, and if my weight goes one side to another, like the bike leans in very quickly. Okay, now we're in sport mode. You guys can see all the Instrument changes down there. Oh my God, dude, this area is like Satan. Jesus, we've been riding for like 4 minutes. What is happening? Whoa, okay, though, all right. The changing from sport to wet, that little buffer area that the engine would give you is gone. It might not be gone, but it's drastically lowered. In wet mode, when you give it throttle, it kind of like gradually gives you that full throttle amount, which is really nice. But sport mode, it's like that much versus this much. Gotta be really careful with that. You guys ever ridden a bike and you authentically worry if the bike is gonna catch on fire? Just from the heat of it? That's where we are right now. I'm legitimately concerned that the bike is just going to burst into flames at some point in time. Jesus. Engine braking is so intense. Throttle up and acceleration so intense. I'm not going to complain because wet mode is so chilled out. Wow, I'm cycling modes for no reason. Wet mode is so chilled out, and I always tell you guys, if you're gonna have modes on a bike, they really need to have a reason for each mode. So I do appreciate that each of these modes sound like they feel totally different. Like sport mode is so much more aggressive than wet mode. And it does not have a lot of grunt down low on city street speeds. I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now, guys. This bike is not fun at all to ride on city streets. If I let go of the throttle a little bit, I'm engine braking a ton. If I throttle it up, I'm just flying forward. And then also the heat is so bad right now, it's coming to the bottom of the seat. Like it has surpassed just the leg area. And I have not been riding it all, like very long at all. And it's only like 70 degrees outside. Like, that's nuts. It's absolutely insane. Definitely, this is a terrible around the town bike. All right, I'm gonna try my best to stop bitching about the heat. Oh my God, this bike is so pissed off if it's on city streets. It's so odd that nothing can feel right on a bike that you know is like an extremely precisioned instrument. But you put it in something that's not its element and it's just like, I do like the layout of the dash, you know, since I have nothing else to talk about while sitting on top of like Satan's horse. The information that you get from the dash is pretty easy to see. I love that all the stats are at the very bottom. I dig that. So nice job on the dash, Ducati. You get a thumbs up from me. I'm not against buying a motorcycle that is purpose built for like a track that looks gorgeous for street use. I get it. You want a bike that looks really cool and you want to look cool on it. I get it, you know? But regardless of how cool this bike looks, dude, this is not fun if you're gonna ride it on the street. It's like not even cool. It's actually the exact opposite of cool. It's really hot. I'm gonna try to hold off judgment till later in this video, but Lord God, let's just put it in race mode just to feel better about it. Oh, here we go. We're officially in race mode, ladies and gentlemen. No, we're not. Close throttle, release brake. Okay. Oh, nice. Just like on the 1199 that I wrecked into a pole. Race mode totally changes the dash. Now we've got like a lap timer. That's cool. Not going to be using that one. All right, boys and girls, 2018 1299 Panigale R Final Edition on the Mexican streets of the highway. Literally, the quick shifter feels instantly better when you're revving it up. You know, if you're actually giving it gas. Suddenly, the bike is starting to come into its own. It feels like it's supposed to. It feels planted. The air is really cooling the bike down. Oh! My goodness. Engine's still really vibrating, I will say that. But this bike feels so much better when you're throttling it up. My goodness, okay. That is so much torque going. Well, how fast are we even going? 90 and it has that kind of torque? Good God, dude. Woo! That is incredible, man. That level of torque on the highway is nuts. All right, dude, I'm good on race mode. We're gonna go back to, honestly, wet felt the best. Wet felt by far the best mode for this bike. So if you're gonna ride this bike on the street, you're basically gonna have to be in wet mode unless you're trying to do some really stupid stuff on the highway. The bike's just hard to manage if you're not in a mode that things are calmed down. The wind kind of seems like it was with the V4S. You can't really feel it, which is awesome. That high up windscreen does a phenomenal job of getting the wind off of you. Let's try these auto downshifts. Pretty solid. I love the bike in wet mode so much more than the other modes. Bike feels super planted in the turns. The suspension is set up pretty hard on this bike right now, though. I can feel every little thing in the road, which I guess that's what you want if you're doing a track day on this thing. Personally, if I was having it on the road, I would not want that much. I wouldn't want the suspension set up so hard, though. Going back and forth in the lane for a bike that has over 200 horsepower and over 100 foot-pounds of torque, this bike feels light as a feather, though. And being sitting so high up on the bike, you really get that benefit of your weight pushing the bike around. And I know for a fact that's how the R6s are, and it makes the bike feel so much better when you're aggressively riding it, or doing a track day or something like that. It's not as comfortable, but honestly, I was giving crap to the seat. The seat's really not as bad as I was giving it crap for. So I've mentioned a couple times about the body position of this bike. Let's talk about that real quick. My lower half is pretty crunched up. My legs are all crunched. My upper half isn't that bad. I'm leaning way over on the bike. You're in like the quintessential sporty body position with this bike. So if you're not a fan of that sporty body position, this is definitely not something to look into. But you got to remember, this bike is pretty much purpose built to do track riding with. So if you had any other expectations of the body position, what are you even thinking? It's kind of like a double-edged sword with the wind. Typically, with the wind going over you, you don't have all that wind fatigue. But sometimes with that wind, it holds you up and your wrists don't get so tired riding the bike for a while. Obviously you're supposed to hold yourself up with your legs, and you don't put any weight on your handlebars, but I'm willing to bet you're not a perfect rider, so you probably do put some weight on your handlebars. I could easily see if somebody was, took this to the mountains or did a track day with it. By the end of the day, I'm willing to bet your wrists are going to get pretty tired from holding yourself up. Leaning the bike over, it does feel really planted on the ground. I have a lot of confidence in just, leaning over with, I don't worry about it at all. All signs of a bike meant for the track. This bike would actually be pretty nice on the track. You got the quick shifter up and down, so you don't have to focus on so much about rev matching and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure this bike though starts at like 39 grand. So the tax bracket that you're in, oh wow, I just accidentally shifted like with a clutch and everything into second. Bike does not feel good doing that. For the guy or gal who has 40 grand to put into a bike that they want to go to the track with, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would put 40 onto this thing. I think I would spend it elsewhere. I'm sure this would be phenomenal, just it's a lot of money. Feels good though. When you do lean that thing over, it's like, oh, that's where all the time and attention with this bike is. As far as, you know, Ducati's end, let's try that rear brake. Rear brake, pretty typical of a rear brake on a bike. Does next to nothing. One cool thing about this bike is in the front, you guys might be able to see it in the cinematic shots, but it's got a GPS unit up there. Also has a IMU, so basically has a computer that tells the bike where it is in space so that it can adjust itself. So ABS, your traction control, your wheelie control. It's pretty awesome. These bikes that have these computers in them can do so much. It's a really interesting thing to see bikes start integrating computer systems to help the bike and the rider have a more like elegant experience. It's basically there to make us all feel like we're Valentino Rossi and we can do way more than we absolutely should. But hey, power to you. If that gives you the confidence to ride like a bat out of hell, do it. There is something about Ducatis, and this happens on a lot of Ducatis, where if you ride the bike aggressive, it's like you get rewarded. Like the bike fits into its groove when you're riding it aggressively, and when you're just puttering around, the bike literally feels like it's about to fall to pieces. One of the only Ducatis I can remember riding that didn't have that sensation was that V4S. That bike felt refined and it felt good riding it at any speed. I could ride it slow around town. I could get on the highway, pop that thing in its faster mode, and it would just respond accordingly. Whereas this bike, you almost have to be riding the balls off of it just for it to feel decent. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I get it, you know, you want the bikes to be ridden and you want people to have that passion and all, but I just feel like bikes gotta have, you need to have a bigger area that your bike feels good in. Alright, so we're in wet mode, third gear, kind of puttering at 3,000, 4,000 RPMs. The legs are absolutely scorched. You know, it's just not an around the town bike, and I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna say a bike is a terrible bike just because it's not good at riding it around town or on the highway, which is where I test these bikes out. But I'm gonna be honest, guys, do not go spend 40 grand unless you understand what you're getting with this bike. If this is gonna be your one and only bike, that's an interesting purchase right there. I'm kind of getting thrown back to my R6 days right now, where, you know, you got this purpose-built bike that is made for one job. You know, take it to a track, have an amazing time, go home. That's the vibes I'm getting off of this thing. Man, quick shifters are my jam, son. My absolute jam. You know, I've been pulling into this, I guess it's a church parking lot, for like 5 years now. I've never had anybody say anything to me. I just want to point that out and let this church know that I appreciate you never giving me crap. Makes my job so much easier. Oh, that suspension is hard. 2018 1299 Panigale R Final Edition from the boys over at Ducati. So we got our Olin suspension on the side that actually pokes out a little bit. It was pressing against my leg. I kind of forgot about it after a while, but when I first sat on it, I noticed it. It's nice to get the adjustments right there. We've got the Acro exhaust on this one. And the bike actually comes with the Akrapovic, or Akrapovic, whatever. Of course, Brembo brakes, Olin suspension. You guys probably expect this kind of stuff. I gotta admit, the yellow, wow, literally the only color that's not on this bike. I gotta admit, the red, white, and the green, the Italian colors, killing it. One thing I noticed that I mean, I get it. You're covering the exhaust up, but I hate the look of that piece of carbon. Not a big fan of it. I do love the wheels, the red wheels. So these are the forged wheels, so like they're lighter weight. So I guess that helps with you changing positions and stuff like that. Panigale head as typical. After the V4S being out, I'm not as big of a fan of the Panigale front ends. Overall, looks-wise, I think the bike is pretty solid. I mean, it looks like a race bike. It looks like you're supposed to line up at a starting position right here. Also, look at all the freaking carbon, dude. Entire carbon front fender. We've got the little carbon bits in here, up here. Got that giant piece of carbon that probably costs like $10,000. I'm not sure if this is part of the rear set or what. A ton of carbon. They did a good job on the bike, though. The way it looks, it is just really purpose-built. Okay. I'm just going to hope to God that the bike has cooled down a little bit now, and we're going to get back on it. By the way, if you guys want to check out some cool photos of the bike, I do take some nice photos if you want backgrounds and stuff like that. ChaseOnTwoWheels.com, on the first ride section, you will see all the pretty photos. I post a couple of them to my Instagram, C2W Pics, but the majority of them in their full high-resolution glory, find them at ChaseOnTwoWheels.com. Put a link down in the description. And I've wasted enough time now. I have to actually get back on this and ride it, and hopefully I don't burn to death. I was trying not to give Ducati shit in this episode, but in the V4S video, I said in that video that Ducati is typically bad about their menu system. This is an example of Ducati being bad at a menu system. I've got a little switch down there that says up, and I assume it says down on the other side. But how do we get to anything? Do we have to go into race mode and then that gives us... Doesn't do anything there. Okay, so let's go to race mode. Now, what's up and down do? Literally nothing? Oh, you're joking. I can see my lean angle? That means we have to ride for the rest of this first ride in freaking race mode? That sucks, but it's totally worth it. This is very unfortunate that I have to do this in race mode, but whatever. Oh, that's so cool. This is gonna be the most uncomfortable ride ever. Oh man, here's the thing that sucks. I'm not even gonna get to pay attention to the numbers because you guys are gonna have to, because I'll probably wreck. Here we go, boys. Lien tests. Oh, I almost got it to 30. Oh, it's a game now. It's totally a game that I'm going to be trying to win. That is really cool shit. Oh, I got it to 30. Oh, yes. Okay, we've made the 1299 a video game. Now we can have a good time. I need that on more bikes. All bike manufacturers, listen to me roar. If you have a race model bike that it has an IMU in it, internal measuring unit or something like that, give us more lean amount. The R1 kind of does something like that. It gives you like how forward you're going in time and how like in space. It's like a G rating, like how many G's you're pulling forward and how many G's you're pulling back, but it doesn't give you lean. Oh man, this bike sucks in race mode when you're riding it on the street. This is the point of the video that I kind of try to sum everything up. So, after spending some time on the 2018 Ducati 1299 Panigale R the Final Edition, what do I think about it? This is a extremely powerful motorcycle that is light as a feather, that is very easy to lean over, and actually fun to lean over when you have a lean angle sensor. And the seat gets insanely hot. Dare I say, one of the hottest, like exhaust hot on your legs bikes I have ever ridden. I think the bike looks phenomenal. It has far more power than any of you watching this video will ever need. And it's very track focused. It's absolutely terrible to ride on the highway. It's absolutely terrible to ride around on the streets. Putting it in wet mode is nice. I appreciate the modes being able to change and the modes really feeling different each time, but it's a track bike, man. It's just a track bike that's legal to ride on the road. That's what this bike is. For 40 grand, I feel like you can get some much better motorcycles for the track. Hell, for 40 grand, you could get a bike that's good on the road and a track bike. And I don't think you would be missing out on much. It's got a lot of awesome tech in it that makes it a phenomenal, you know, technologically phenomenal motorcycle, but with this level of heat and everything, man, I can't really recommend this bike. If somebody was like, Chase, I have an unlimited amount of money, what bike should I get and go to the track? I would say, well, Mr. Man or lady that has lots of money that wants to do track days, you're gonna get a V4S. Why would you get this bike when you can get a V4S? I would never be able to tell somebody to get this bike over a V4S. It's cool to look at. This bike is actually really cool to look at, but that's about as far as the major perks of this bike go. Nice to look at, terrible to ride, in my personal opinion. And guys, I've been Chase on Two Wheels. This has been a Chase on Two Wheels first ride. Big old shout out to my guys over at Mountain Motorsports. They are the giant motorcycle dealer here in North Georgia and in Tennessee that let me get on these bikes for you guys and ride them around and let you know what I feel about them. So that way, if you guys don't have the opportunity to ride them around and do a first ride on them, you can watch this video and hopefully that can help out your buying decision. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more motorcycle content. That's all I do here on the Chase on Two Wheels YouTube channel, is review motorcycles, gear, and, you know, occasionally do motorcycle builds and giveaways. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching this point in the video. You are the MVP if you made it to this point. And let me know if you had to choose between this bike and the V4S I did a first ride on the other day, Outro Crew, which one of those would you have picked and why? Oh my God, my legs are burning. Sheesh. Alright, dudes, I'm out of here. I'm putting this thing back in wet mode to make it back safely. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.